getting the reception he would have expected. Coming into Canelo territory.
Actually born in Texas, El Paso, but has lived in Las Cruces, New Mexico, just across the border. And he's a college student, or has been. 2 years at New Mexico State College. And properly for a fighter who fights
and
with
now
angles,
making
as
his
they
way
say.
to the ring, here
He loves
is the
mathematics.
WBA world champion.
It's perfect for him.
from New
Yes.
Mexico.
How many fighters you know have taken calculus?
I can't think of another one.
Well, he practices calculus in the ring. Calculated guy who understands the calculus and the geometry of prize fighting.
And the arithmetic of money, if it all works out well for him. He's 26-0 with the 14 knockouts, a pro since 2005. Won the WBA 154-pound championship against Rigoberto Alvarez, the brother of Canelo, back in 2011. And his coming out performance to the masses was the lopsided win over Miguel Cotto in New York in December. 117 to 111 on 2 cards, 119-109 on a third, and he dominated the second half of that fight.
And in both occasions, he went into the other guy's territory and dealt with the hostility of the fans very well.
There is Austin Trout. Not a problem for him to be in the other guy's backyard. Yeah, there's also a guy that he'll never been bothered by pressure. And here comes Canelo. He won his championship against Matthew Hatton in March of 2011. And he has had 5 defenses and looked dominant in all of them.
By all that is holy in boxing, and there isn't much that's holy, this is not the kind of fight that the management would want their star fighter to take. Nobody wants to take credit for making this fight except the guy who's going to fight it, Canelo Alvarez.
He's the one that insisted. And with the reason we talked about, he's a 2-1 favorite late in the week. And in boxing, if you get a fight at 4-1 or under, you have a real fans fight.
And when if you factor into that, the fact that he's on the other guy's home turf, it's basically even.
That is a premium placed into the wagering interest. And why not? They're both champions. They're both undefeated. They're both in their prime. They both dismantled very impressive opponents, Mosley by Canelo and Miguel Cotto for Trout.
I would have to say that Trout beating Cotto, who was closer to his prime than Mosley, is a significant event in boxing, and shot him into this role.
Especially considering Cotto's popularity not only around the world but in New York, where he's fought on major cards and holidays. $39,247 affirmative responses to tickets here. And they could have put more in. There is Canelo, the star, 20 when he won a title. And we talked about fighting when he was at 15. You can do that in Mexico. You can turn pro at age 15.
And fight 10 and 12 rounders when you're 16.
and then go home and finish your homework with a championship belt by your side. And Austin Trout, a real star in his own right. Very likable guy. Visited some veterans this week. A class act. Here's how they match up. Alvarez 5 years younger. The height for Trout, the reach for Trout. They are big numbers for him. 3 knockdown rule not in effect. No standing 8 count. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell at all. Only the referee can stop the fight. Physicians have input. There's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to the sold-out Alamodome here in the beautiful city of San Antonio, Texas, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions, Canelo Promotions, Leja and Bata Promotions, in association with Greg Cohen Promotions and Showtime. Sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina, and AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. This bout is sanctioned by the WBC President and Supervisor Jose Sulaiman, the WBA President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Enzo Bañarriol, along with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation Chairman William Kuntz. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Stanley Christodoulou. From Kawag in the Philippines, Ray Danseco. And from Dallas, Texas, Oren Schellenberger. Our third man of the ring, a referee in charge of the action, Lawrence Cole. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action for the WBA, WBC, and Ring Magazine Super Welterweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from San Antonio, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my right, the WBC champion in the blue corner, presentando al orgulloso hijo de la República de México, wearing black trunks with pink trim, hailing from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. He weighed in at 153 1/2 pounds. His tremendous record stands at 41 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 30 wins coming by way of knockout. At just 22 years of age, tonight he is making the 6th defense of his title. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the young superstars of boxing today, the undefeated WBC Super Welterweight Champion of the World. Demos la bienvenida al invicto, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, the WBA World Champion, entering the ring wearing white trunks with zebra stripe trim, fighting out of and representing his home of Las Cruces, New Mexico. He weighed in at a ready 153 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 26 wins, no losses, 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Now in his 3rd year as champion, tonight he is making the 5th defense of his title. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Austin No Doubt Trout. Once again, our referee in charge now to give instructions, Lawrence Cole.
All right, gentlemen, went over rules early in the dressing room. I want you to obey my commands. Protect yourselves all times. Good luck. Play Olympia.
Knowing what we know about how they fight, the question I'm most interested in seeing is whether Alvarez has the ability to apply sustained, smart pressure, which is usually the best and sometimes the only way to beat a really smart, talented boxer.
We'll see if it plays out that way. Austin Trout, who needs to move, has talked about last year that this is his time for coming out. 2 months before Cotto, he said, this is my momentum time. And he made the Cotto fight look easy in the second half of that. So here we are, the stalker against the mover.
And as he often and usually does, you know, Canelo is very patient, will try to size up his opponent and find the open spaces where he thinks he can work best.
And for Trout, stay on the outside, move laterally, try to build up some points on the expectation that Canelo does get rolling after a couple rounds and then usually a runaway train. There's Trout continuing to move. These are the rounds for him that are very important. To stick and move, and try to build up the lead. And Canelo is looking for the opening.
Trying to figure out, how do I attack, you know, this particular human puzzle.
Right hand by Canelo, which if you're up in row 50, was a bomb.
And a right hand behind it. You'll notice that when Trout punches, his forward foot steps into the punch, but his back foot is ready to get out of there.
The hedge fund. The guy with the angles. And that is a smart way to pile up points if you can stay with that style.
That's why I asked the question, can Canelo do this? Can he apply pressure and break Trout down?
And can he stop the movements? Can he get the right hand leading against this guy? Wild swing. Canelo just missed with the big right hand. He has the idea, the lead right against this guy. Came up just a little short. But you know we'll see that again.
This is where Canelo wants to fight on the ropes.
And he got right in on that and worked the body.
Time!
According to script, round one. Trout moving, Canelo doing his best inside.
Relájate, bueno. La grasa. Pásame la grasa. Toma aire. Estás trabajando bien, güey. Así, relajadito. Son 12 rounds. No quieras salir a tirar todo en un round. Hay que mover la cintura, te está marcando con el jab, lo que ya sabemos para agarrar la izquierda. Hay que entrar moviendo la cintura, ya cuando metamos hay que empezar a combinar. Pero sin descuidarme la defensa cuando vas al frente. ¿Ok? Ok. Ok, let's go.
Not too much advice given to Canelo between rounds. We'll see how this plays out. WBC champion Canelo Alvarez, WBA champion Austin Trout, meeting in this unification in San Antonio, Texas. Dave Bontempo and Larry Merchant with you as we watch the 154-pound Kings duke it out. 40,000 on hand at the Alamodome. You hear eruptions from the fans at the top. It's always an indication that you're in a packed arena. And they're waiting on Canelo. And Austin Trout would like to make them wait for 12 rounds if he could.
Trying to close space, Alvarado to get closer to Trout. Trout snaps out the left and a lead and his right jab. But Canelo now knows what the assignment is.
He landed a good body shot, landed a good right hand to the head. He's trying to close the distance here. And throughout his career, his pattern has been slow starter and then a steamroll.
Against a fighter like Trout, you can't afford to start too slow.
No,
and
and
before you know it, it's the 9th and the 10th rounds.
he picked it up here in round 2.
Yeah.
Works the body, good right hand by Canelo. A jab by Trout.
One guy is trying to win by a death by 1,000 cuts, and the other guy is just throwing punches with mean intentions.
Both guys using the formula that has brought them here. Austin Trout would like to fire unlimited jabs and be able to move. And Canelo, a little bobbing and weaving, scores a nice jab of his own.
Now, Canelo is plainly being aggressive here. In a close round, that could matter.
Yes. It's the perception of aggression in a tight round if both guys are equally effective. This is a good round for Canelo. Round 1 was good for Austin Trout.
Keep touching the body. First round he hit him a nice uppercut in the body, and he felt it. Keep touching that body, okay? They come right back upstairs with that power jab, that up jab. Keep turning them. Don't stay in the pocket too long.
Take a look at Canelo with that left hook and the good right hand. It's a good indication of what he would like to do in this fight. He succeeded here, Larry.
Well, he's showing that he has some quality to go with all that quantity of youthful exposure.
They were impact shots. Round 3, Canelo and Austin Trout. Between these guys, 67 wins, no losses. 41 of the wins for Canelo, 26 for Austin Trout.
Trout's 5 years older, but he had a long 200-fight amateur career, so it sort of balances out.
It does, and both being in their 20s, both guys near their prime. Certainly Trout near his prime. Canelo needs to have a lot of upward mobility yet.
Well, Trout here is trying to show Canelo that he's going to have to pay if he's going to take the lead.
Trout with the jab, Canelo with the right hand. Trout getting his jab out there again. Movement critical for Trout. See him circling to his right. Canelo will have to cut off the ring. He takes a left hand and then comes in and is shoved around by Trout. Veteran move by Trout. Persistent jab for Austin Trout. And blocking the shots there by Canelo.
But that one sent him off balance. And if an opponent is able to do that to a boxer and keep the boxer backing up and not knowing where it's coming, that works in his favor. We don't know if he can do it, and Trout is trying to fight him off here and say, the price you're going to pay for this is too high.
Uppercut by Canelo Alvarez. And for Trout, the double jab is what he's trying to stick out there, and also to greet Canelo when he comes in.
What Canelo knows now is he cannot outbox the boxer. He can box him some, but he's going to have to put some hurt on him.
So how is he going to get past that jab? That's his assignment.
Yep. Not just a jab, it's the footwork. It's a fighter who's defensive oriented. There's a nice quick right hand inside. How many punches has Trout taken like that? So both of them have something to prove here.
Good third round for Austin Trout.
Time!
And there is Taylor, who will become Mrs. Trout May 25th.
You see a lot of wives and girlfriends not too vocal at ringside, but she is.
Take a deep breath.
Nice support cast for Trout. Louis Burke and Bobby Benton. The chess match goes on. Saul Canelo Alvarez and Austin Trout in this 154-pound unification bout. If Trout has his way, there will be a buzz throughout this crowd, but not an explosion. He tries to quiet them and stay outside. Canelo coming up a little short.
And the crowd chanting, Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. Trying to urge their young star on. But Trout has heard that before.
And you do get the sense, when you talk about the assignment that Canelo has, that it's understood that it'll take him longer to get there, probably longer to break this guy down. It has to be a very methodical process for him.
Has to go to the body, has to try to make him uncomfortable in some way. Because he's just too slick and too quick otherwise.
Right hand lead by Alvarez, and these are coming up short. And this is the comfort zone that Trout wants.
Which is why I asked the question early on. Can Canelo apply sustained, smart pressure? So far, Trout has been able to keep him off.
And the interesting thing about it is with Canelo, often one punch can turn it around, and there's an uppercut as he makes a bid to move Trout back.
With a sharpshooter like Trout, you can't just come in. You can't just try to impose yourself. You have to do it in an intelligent way.
Now, even if you give away a round taking some shots, if you Canelo, you've got to get in and work the body hard, even if you take a few shots just to try and change this guy's movement. And there is Trout jabbing on the outside, doing a beautiful job.
Right hand by Canelo. You know it was good because Trout shook his hand and said no.
There's a good jab Behind
Another
that, good jab. And Canelo is finding the range at the end of round 4.
Those are the two most effective punches of the round, but how will they affect the scoring?
Maybe not in this round. It still might be a Trout round, but could be a lot of momentum going forward.
¿Cómo se siente, mi güey? Bien. Hay que mover la cintura, güey. Mover la cintura. Mover la cintura, hay que pintarlo de vez en cuando. Pintarlo de vez en
There
cuando.
you see a hard jab from Canelo. And it made Trout step back and say, hey, I haven't seen that one before.
And there was a right hand in the second round that had the same effect on him.
You know, when the jabber gets out jabbed, it can set something loose in him, even if it's just momentary.
Let's see if that's the case as we head into round 5. The jab and the right hand by Canelo at the end of round 4 have the potential to be fight turning if they make Canelo come in more and step up his game. Pair of undefeated fighters, pair of champions, waging the fight we expected, with Trout boxing, moving, and now Canelo with more urgency trying to take the movement away.
Couple of body shots followed by a left jab.
And when we talk about applying the pressure, should Canelo stop the movement of Austin Trout, it's a whole different fight, and then it's in his office.
I don't think that's too likely. You know, Trout is not in there to have a fight. He's in there to win the fight.
But if he gets hit with a few body shots and his movement gets taken away,
that's why we look for that sustained pressure and see how it affects the opponent in the second half of the fight.
body shot by Alvarez, and then a right hand lead against the lefty. Good jab by Trout. Good movement. And if he keeps that jab operating, he'll make Canelo regroup. There's a right hook that got in by Austin Trout. And then he beat Canelo by a whisker with his right hand. Canelo gets beaten to the jab again. Left hand gets in by Trout. Just missed with a big shot. And what we are seeing through 5 rounds, a marvelous boxing display by Austin Trout.
Trout with a quick left hand, ineffective, but he is coming back. He has shown that there is some fight in him, as well as the ability to play some angles.
So as we get ready for
Get back,
round
Austin.
6,
Come on, bud. Box.
Canelo Alvarez has not faced as educated a boxer as he is seeing in Austin Trout. Trout probably hasn't seen the same puncher potential as he's seeing in Alvarez, and he's doing a great job of keeping Alvarez at bay.
This is a style fight, but sometimes these kinds of showdowns are determined by what's inside the fighter, not just by what we're seeing here moment to moment.
There's Canelo getting a right hand in. At different points in certain fights, guys have to grow, have to find another dimension. And you get the sense that whoever wins this will find something a little extra. As Canelo comes in, tries to get past that jab, scores with a good jab of his own.
And I think a short left hand there got Trout's attention.
Uppercut by Canelo. Lands in grazing fashion, but he's getting closer. Good uppercut by Alvarez again, and then Trout is back.
And suddenly we have toe-to-toe here. Is that because Trout is taking some shots? Or is that because Trout thinks, I've got to do this now? I can't let him think that he can roll over me.
Because that happened as Alvarez was getting some momentum inside.
Give Trout credit for stepping in at that moment, because it did look like Alvarez suddenly was finding some range.
And it points to the comment about the heart you made earlier about what's inside, not only the intellect, but the willingness to gamble there as he did. Trout missing over the top, throws to the jab. Canelo trying to lure him in. And it's Trout
With a good rally.
winning this exchange. Look at the patience and persistence with the jab of Trout. Good body shot.
A fight has broken out.
Normally you would think that's for Canelo's benefit as he lands a right hand, but Trout has been equal to this change in style in round 6.
And he's taken some good punches well. That's the part of the inside that we were talking about. How will he respond when he's hit? If the response is to hit back, you've got a prize fighter.
Well, Canelo just landed his best punch of the fight, an uppercut at the end of round 6. We'll see if it carries over.
He's tired now. Now's when you turn it up. We gotta win.
Here we see, as two guys who can box decide to test each other. Particularly impressive on Trout's part because it's unexpected, and here he is with Alvarado on the ropes, but Alvarado shows that he's got some slick and quick himself. I think he's winning the fight so far.
All right, family seems pretty happy, and we go into round 7, the second half of this fight underway. Canelo Alvarez, 41-0-1, 30 knockouts. Austin Trout, 26-0, 14. There's a big right hand that drops Trout. We talked about the momentum of the uppercut in round 6, and a big breakthrough for Canelo.
That was a straight right hand that caught him early in the round and dazed him and hurt him. He looks like he has his legs back, but Canelo will try to hurt him here.
Another big right hand by Canelo. The right hand lead against the lefty. It came up big for him early in round 7.
Trout fighting back.
Good right hand by Alvarez. Trout right there. Not tying up, not trying to buy time. It's war.
What we're seeing here is two young title holders who want to be great men.
And so for Trout, that means rising from adversity. That big right hand he took, comes up and shows a little more. And there's Canelo with another big right hand. Another one. Good left hook. He's a heavy-handed puncher. And as we said earlier, most likely the best puncher that Trout has ever faced.
Well,
Trout is right back on him.
but the more he fights Canelo, the more he puts himself in harm's way.
Where's the jabbing and the movement that was there earlier? It's been taken out of him now by the body shots and the big right hand that put him down. And here is Alvarez shortening the distance. Alvarez loading up his next big shot, fires it to the body. And Trout not quite as sure of his jab right now. Good right hand by Alvarez. Excellent right hand in the body. Trout is back, but a lot of steam may have been taken out of him by the Alvarez assault.
A possible fight-changing round.
A big 10-8. As we said, Alvarez, once he gets that momentum, almost never gives it up.
Pick up your guns down, but be smart. Don't relax.
There's that straight right hand that hurt Trout and may have taken some of the spring out of his legs, but it didn't take it out of his heart.
No, the first knockdown in his career suffered here. And he came up after this and was willing to engage, but his feet, his movement may have been taken away from him, and we'll see how that plays out. A huge style edge now for Trout, for Canelo. Here we go into round 8. Will Canelo follow up, or will Trout
And that's what
find something else?
And that's what more than 39,000 paying fans are asking themselves right now.
And that's the big momentum changer which you see in so many of Canelo's fights. But with this being a high-level fight, you know that Trout won't go easily, and it will take more. And with the break, here is Trout again trying to be outside. You know, when he realizes he's in with a more heavy-handed guy, how tentative can that make him?
Of course it can, but it's not just that Canelo is heavy-handed. He's smart about it. You know, he's not being careless in doing it. He's mixing up what he can do. And the change in the swings of who's going forward, who's backing off, who's counterpunching, who's taking the lead, has made this a really fascinating back and forth.
As expected at this level, and has lived up to the billing. Here is Trout going to the body.
Is Canelo waiting for an opening? Well, trying to get him to open up so that he can counterpunch him? This is unusual for him.
And the question is, does he have to do it there against the ropes when he's been successful in other parts of the ring? As Trout outside.
Who knows the mysteries of what is going on inside a fighter's head from moment to moment.
And the emotions. I mean,
Exactly.
we dissect it as an angles, an X's and O's type proposition, but there's a lot of emotion going in there with these guys. And hey, I'll try this, I'll try that.
And when neither fighter is lost, they don't think they can lose. They don't know about giving up.
So they automatically assume when there's some adversity that they will dig down and get over it. And we've seen both guys get over some hurdles in this fight.
At the end of that round, Trout gave a little nod to Canelo as if to say, hey, you're pretty good, kid. Maybe better than I thought.
I remember seeing Leonard and Hearns do that in their fight after about round 10.
A good round for you.
A big fight in the early 80s.
Keep feigning him. He's fighting in spurts. He's tired, and that's why he's only fighting in spurts. You keep your hands moving, you keep working, keep changing your combinations from the body to the head, all right? And from head to body, feint.
Trout outside where he wanted to operate, and here was Canelo. Well, if he tried to bait him, it didn't work here.
Oh, interestingly, Trout's trainer, Louis Burke, said to him in the corner, he's tired. That's why he's fighting in these kinds of spurts. We'll see.
Into round 9 we go. It's a terrific battle at the Alamodome. Canelo Alvarez and Austin Trout in their 154-pound unification bout.
Stop.
Dave Bontempo and Larry Merchant with you here in a fight that has had the ebbs and flows that you would expect from guys who brought unbeaten marks in here. The right hand by Alvarez. Works the body. Alvarez trying to land a couple of punches that will halt the movement of Trout. And at times he has succeeded, but Trout out there again now. Able to move and go laterally. Alvarez scores the right hand after the left of the body. Just misses with the right hand. Left hook by Alvarez. Right hook in grazing fashion got in by Trout. Then a good left hand down the chute. Scores for him. How would you evaluate overall how Canelo has done cutting off the ring in this fight?
It's hard to cut off the ring against a guy who has both his feet under him, moves left or right. It's not like he's running in any one direction and you have to cut him off at the pass. He just has to stand there and there. Who's smarter, who's quicker, who's tougher, who's stronger.
Double jab here by Trout. Canelo, right hand partially blocked. Trout coming up short on a lot of these.
We've often seen Canelo come forward with his hands around his head, you know, protecting himself. Here he's almost like he's inviting Trout to take some shots at him, looking to counter him.
As here is Trout not going for that bait right now. Staying outside, not committing. There's a jab by Alvarez.
And you wonder about, we talked about emotions. Here's the boxer suddenly seemed for 30 seconds to be getting outboxed, outsmarted, as those last two punches at the end of the round showed.
Boxeaste para la gente. Muy bien. Dale la esta. Ponle aquí con las piernas. ¿Cómo se siente, mi güero? Bien. Nos quedan 3 roundcitos nomás. Hay que hacerlos perfectos, ¿ok? Sí. Hay que fintar manos. Has estado para que...
Keep your head moving. You step in, you go straight back.
Come out lower.
Come out lower and get around them. Turn around. Get right back on top of him. He's tired. He starts doing this bullshit up jab or right into the throat, okay? Don't aim at his head.
At that sternum. Take that.
You know, sometimes when a trainer says to a fighter, the other guy's tired, it's because he thinks his own fighter's tired.
Austin, go right there.
Try to pump him up. And in the corner of Alvarez, they're pleased with what they have seen through 9 rounds. He's landed the heavier punches. He scored a knockdown at the beginning of round 7. And this has been a tremendous fight because two guys doing what they do best and their opposite skills.
Box.
Trout, the boxer, has been loyal to that. Stayed outside, moved, made it difficult for Canelo early. And Alvarez, the big puncher, getting inside, scoring a knockdown.
Trout acting now like he thinks he has to put some pressure on Canelo. That he's in a tougher fight than maybe he thought this would be if he is suddenly become stalking Canelo at this late stage.
He has to become the gambler and go in and fight what would be Canelo's fight. And there's an uppercut by Trout that just misses. Jab here by Trout. 4 shots by Trout get in. Right hand lead by Canelo is blocked. Three nice shots by Trout and a beautiful uppercut by Alvarez.
And that is the danger to Trout of what he was doing as he tries to seize the ground.
As he stepped it up and got brave, he got drilled. I'm loving this level of fight, though. The guy willing to gamble like that. And then the other guy knowing enough that he has to make him pay.
If this is chess, it's speed chess.
Double jab here by Trout. Alvarez, jab in the right hand. Covered up on his head this time. So the trap that he was setting a couple of rounds ago, he gave up on that. There's a jab in the right hand by Alvarez.
At no point in this fight has Trout landed a punch that seemed to make Alvarez step back or maybe even blink. I don't know how you measure that round to round, but whenever there's been a punch that you think the guy's hurt, it's been the punch that Alvarez has thrown on Trout.
And that usually plays a big role in the scorecards over the course of a fight. Even though these are very good shots here by Trout, you get one big shot by Alvarez to counter it, and it's worth the multiple of the shots by Trout.
But this is a good round for Trout.
Time! Don't hit me.
And we can see the concern on the future Taylor Trout.
How feisty a few rounds ago. That was before the knockdown.
Yeah, I think.
Here you go. The jab by Trout, the body shot by Canelo. There's been a good pace in this fight all the way throughout. That was the signature shot after Trout missed a couple as he was getting brave.
As we head,
10?
toward the championship rounds, I don't think that anyone now questions that Canelo Alvarez
Stop back.
is a fighter. That he's not just a manufactured star.
Now, in this showcase here, he's had to reach for something extra against the guy. Been able to stay outside and move. So he's had to be patient, wait a little longer to try to get to him, keep the pressure on. And he has done that. And in a fight of this magnitude, you expect guys to do stuff that partially nullify the other guy. And we've seen each guy do something to nullify their opponent. Trout making it harder for Canelo, and Canelo dropping Trout.
Another good uppercut as Trout takes the lead. He may not be getting hooked, but he's getting uppercutted.
Jab here by Trout coming up a little short. Canelo trying to launch that right hand lead. Good reflexes by both guys at this stage of the fight. Good pace by both guys at this stage of the fight.
It's great to want to be great.
Outside is Trout, trying to build up something with the jabs, and then Canelo will take it away with a good right hand. And he's had the power shots in this fight. Good right hand lead by Alvarez.
Now, as Trout comes forward with some urgency, Alvarez is the boxer and trying to stick him.
Little role reversal. Here comes Trout. Good body shot by Trout. Good body shot by Alvarez. Nice right hand by Alvarez. And then he wins that exchange by driving Trout off.
Yeah, and Trout winced when he was hit with that shot. His eye almost closed.
Right now, Trout might feel like he brought the knife to the gunfight. As Canelo scores the bigger punches in round 11.
Arriba, vámonos. Bien hecho, vamos. Último round, papá. Falta uno. Voy a hacer una pinche cátedra de defensa. Hermosa defensa, padre. Hermosa defensa. Ni un pinche golpe te han dado, vamos.
Nos falta un round. Nos falta un round, ¿ok? Hay que hacerlo perfecto, mejor que todos los demás.
Lúcete, lúcete, ¿ok?
One of the things in everyone's mind here, going back 20 years to Chavez Whitaker, is that Whitaker looked at he won the fight by a wide margin and got a draw out of it. Can Trout get the fight at this close of a fight and he was knocked down and he's absorbing the bigger punches? Does he even deserve it in any account? But that's a question in the mind of everybody around here.
Can he get it? A legitimate question. Here we go into round 12, the finale. It's been a real great fight, tactical warfare. Canelo Alvarez, Austin Trout at the Alamodome. Dave Bontempo and Larry Merchant with you here. Larry, through 11, what does the stack up on your scorecard?
I have Canelo ahead, based on the harder punching and the knockdown. But I recognize that it could go the other way, of course.
Here is Trout. Working on the outside and trying to get in. Two fighters who have shown excellence via different methods. Trout on the outside, boxing, moving, putting in combinations from angles. Alvarez, when he gets close enough, drilling Trout, knocking him down and being the heavier puncher and the momentum changer. Right hand lead by Alvarez.
Once again, the hard punch. How much of an impression will that make on the judges in this fight?
Good hard right hand usually wipes out 3 jabs.
But Trout is coming forward, trying to make an impression both on Canelo, the judges, and the crowd. I'm still here.
Good jab by Alvarez. This has been a terrific pace by these guys. No slow periods. Each guy doing what brought him here. Trout firing more leather. Alvarez firing harder punches consistently.
Alvarez acting as though he thinks he's won the fight from what he's been hearing from his corner.
And from how he's boxing here. Right hand by Alvarez. Trout continuing to come forward. Good right hand by Alvarez. Good right hand again by Alvarez.
Probably the hardest fight both of them have ever been in.
Yep. We said it before. We thought it was the hardest puncher that Trout had faced and the best boxer that Alvarez had faced. And in that kind of a matchup, something has to give, and each guy did different things.
You know, in the narrow terms of the boxing world, Alvarez proved himself tonight. He can fight anybody. Also to mention here, there is a rematch clause in this contract, but it's only Alvarez's to exercise. If Alvarez wins the fight, he doesn't have to fight Trout again. He can move on. If Trout gets to the decision, Alvarez can choose whether he wants to fight him again.
Alvarez gets the star treatment. I don't think he'll need that rematch clause. Let's see how the judges have it, though. And this was something in which Alvarez dug down, showed a lot of patience, and showed a lot of composure against a guy who was doing well.
Yeah, and you know, he showed that very early on. That's what made him so promising. As an 18 and 19-year-old, we saw that and said, wow, how is it going to translate when he starts to fight superior talent?
All right, how significant will this play in the scoring? That was round 7 early on. It was a big round for Alvarez, and it started his charge in the second half of this fight. Not only was that big, but what it launched was big. Got that right through. We're talking about his patience. He was fighting a guy who was doing everything almost flawlessly in his boxing style for a few rounds. Right hand against the lefty. And it proved big.
I see some people sort of shaking their heads, which makes me think maybe Trout got the nod, but we'll get the official verdict any second.
Trout and his family have the feeling this went the other way. Let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Ray Danseco, scores the bout 115 to 112. Oren Schellenberger sees it 116 to 111. And Stanley Christodoulou scores the bout 118 to 109. All three in favor of the winner. He is now the WBC, WBA, and Ring Magazine Super Welterweight World Champion, El Orgullo de Guadalajara, Saul Canelo
Yes, he did it.
Alvarez.
And if there was any head shaking, it was from the people who thought Trout did better than the judges did.
I would also shake my head at 118 to 109.
I agree with you, but that's why they have three judges. And
Usually
they
get it right.
And I think at the end of the day or at the end of the night, they got it right.
They did. And a big second half rout. Trout's family. And that was one story we saw. Remember how happy they were after rounds 5 and 6? Hey, it is tough to watch a loved one fight.
Yeah.
Not like any other sport.
That's his oldest daughter. She's 10. And that's the other side of bringing your kids to watch you perform. But it's never been bad, and they're finding out something about real life. Yeah. And their dad put up a good fight.
This was really entertaining, and he made Canelo
and
outlast him.
And this is a fight that will make his...
Unificate los títulos. ¿Cómo hiciste la pelea
This
hoy?
is Jim
¿Cómo te
Gray
sientes?
with
Bueno,
Canelo.
Trout es un peleador zurdo muy inteligente, pero hicimos lo mejor de nosotros, hicimos más inteligencia que él, más rápidos. Entre más bueno sea mi rival, mejor voy a ser yo.
Austin Trout is a very difficult fighter. He's a southpaw, but we were more intelligent in this fight today, and the better the opponent is, the better he will get.
You said that the speed would be the difference in the outcome. Do you feel that was the difference?
Tú dijiste que la velocidad iba a ser la diferencia. ¿Fue la diferencia?
Así es, la velocidad, la inteligencia fue la diferencia y como les digo, si mi rival está aquí, yo voy a estar aquí.
That's it. The velocity was definitely a factor in today's fight, and he's saying if the opponent is here, he's going to fight over that opponent's.
What did you learn about yourself tonight? This was the best fighter who you faced.
¿Qué aprendiste en el día de hoy con el mejor boxeador que ha peleado?
Muchísimo. Trout es un peleador muy difícil. Aprendí mucho de esta pelea, me va a dar más experiencia y estoy listo para los mejores. Aquí estoy. El Canelo va para rato.
Definitely, he learns from his opponents. He's learned from his experience today. And once he fights better fighters, he's going to keep learning even more. And Canelo's here for a long time.
Coming into this fight, you had said the revenge for your brother, hermano, was very important.
Esto es para mi hermano.
Say it in English.
This is for my brother.
This is for my brother.
Was that a big factor in tonight's fight?
¿Eso fue un factor determinante en la pelea de hoy?
Sí, es una gran motivación fue esto y como lo dije, acabando la pelea, ganando este campeonato, este es para mi hermano.
Yes, it was definitely a big motivation for this fight. And finished the fight, he said that was going to be for his brother.
Es mi sangre y dije que lo iba a vengar. Por mi sangre hago todo.
He's my blood, and he was going to avenge the loss.
Canelo, can you tell us what happened in the 6th round? It seemed as though he had hit you with a good body shot the round before, but then in the 6th round, you knocked down Austin Trout for the first time to become the first man, 7th round, pardon me, for the first time in his career.
¿Qué pasó en el sexto round? Que él te dio como un buen golpe, pero viniste en el séptimo y después lo pusiste a noquear.
No, fue un poquito abajo, me dolió un poquito la pierna, no quise decirle a mi esquina, pero todo está bien. Yo hice mi trabajo y me sentí muy bien, gracias a Dios.
On that Austin Trout, he thought it was a little low, and he didn't tell his corner that his leg was bothering him a little bit, but finally he rose to the occasion and won the fight.
This in front of 40,000 fans in San Antonio. Not in your home country, but this was your home venue. They were all for you this evening. What does that mean to you?
¿Qué significa hacerlo aquí, no en México, sino frente a 40,000 fanáticos en San Antonio?
Estoy muy agradecido con toda esta gente, siempre lo he dicho, desde que empecé mi carrera me han arropado muy bien. Para eso me preparo siempre Para eso me preparo siempre, para dar lo mejor de mí y que la gente salga satisfecha siempre, porque tengo una gran responsabilidad que son todos ellos.
He has a big responsibility, and he's very grateful for the fans that came out here to San Antonio to see this fight, and that's why he motivates and prepares himself every time.
I know your English is getting much better. I think you can answer this one in English. Are you ready to fight, and would you like to fight Floyd Mayweather next?
I hope so. Maybe. ¡Viva México!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Austin Trout. What would you say was the difference tonight, Austin, in this fight?
He was the better man. He was quicker, he was stronger. He was a better man than me. I have no excuses for tonight. You know, he was the better man tonight. I still want to thank God for this opportunity, for allowing me to be here. I ask him that he just helps me accept my defeat humbly. And I promise you, I'll be back stronger. I'm going back to the drawing boards. So I'm just happy to be here.
You were knocked down for the first time in your career in the 7th round. Can you tell us what happened?
You know, he caught me with a good shot. You know, I wouldn't say I was sleeping on him. I was fully prepared for this fight. Again, I have no excuses. The better man won. But, you know, I promise you, I'll have to go back to the drawing boards and come back stronger. I've learned more from my losses than from my wins. So I learned a big lesson tonight, and, you know, he was a good fighter.
Why would you say you were not able to be successful tonight? Why would you think that coming into this fight you would be able to have a plan that you could execute and then not be able to do it during the fight?
You know, he boxed a lot better than I thought. You know, he moved a lot better than I thought. Not that I was underestimating him, but we were just prepared for a totally different fighter. And he shocked us. He shocked us.
Did the open scoring and knowing the scoring and knowing that you were behind from the 4th round on, then the 8th round, did it affect the way that you approached the fight and had to continue to fight?
Definitely. I had to come out of my comfort zone and try to press the action a little bit more. You know, he changed it up. He's a complete fighter. But again, I'll be back, and I'd love to get another shot at all those titles he got around his belt.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I want to thank Al Heyman for making this happen. I want to thank Rizzo, Greg Cohn Promotions, Bob Spagnuolo, my coach, my team Trout, all the Trout Nation that came by. Thank you. I'm sorry I failed this time, but I'll be back, I promise.
Thank you, Austin.